In the heart of the Scottish Highlands, hidden beneath the shadows of ancient pines, stood Blackthorn Castle. For centuries, it was whispered about in fearful tones by the villagers of the nearby town of Dunlair. The castle had been abandoned for as long as anyone could remember, its towering spires and ivy-clad walls crumbling under the weight of time and sorrow. Legend spoke of a curse that befell the castle, a darkness that consumed all who dared to enter its gates. One crisp autumn evening, a group of friends, driven by curiosity and a taste for the supernatural, decided to spend a night in Blackthorn Castle. They were John, the skeptical leader, Sarah, the historian, Emma, the adventurous spirit, and Mark, the tech-savvy ghost hunter. Armed with flashlights, cameras, and recording equipment, they ventured through the twisted forest, arriving at the castle just as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an eerie glow on the stone facade. The massive iron gates groaned in protest as John pushed them open, their rusty hinges echoing through the desolate courtyard. They stepped inside, their footsteps crunching on the gravel path, the air thick with a sense of foreboding. As they approached the grand entrance, the wind howled through the trees, almost as if warning them to turn back. Inside the castle was a labyrinth of dark corridors and grand halls, filled with decaying furniture and tattered tapestries. The group set up their base in the Great Hall, a vast room with a high-vaulted ceiling and a grand fireplace that hadn't seen a fire in centuries. Sarah began to explore, her flashlight casting eerie shadows on the walls as she marveled at the ancient architecture and the remnants of a bygone era. Emma, driven by her sense of adventure, wandered off alone, her camera in hand, hoping to capture something otherworldly. She found herself in the library, a room filled with dust-covered books and cobwebs. As she scanned the shelves, a book caught her eye, an old, leather-bound volume with strange symbols etched into its cover. She opened it, revealing page after page of cryptic writings and unsettling illustrations. A sudden chill ran down her spine as she realized the book was a grimoire, filled with dark spells and incantations. Meanwhile, Mark was setting up his equipment, placing cameras and motion sensors throughout the castle. As he reviewed the footage from his night vision camera, he noticed something strange, a shadowy figure standing at the end of a hallway. He called John over, but when they looked again, the figure was gone. Hours passed, and the atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive. Sarah returned to the Great Hall with tales of a hidden chapel she had discovered, adorned with grotesque carvings and a blood-stained altar. The group decided to investigate, their curiosity piqued despite the growing sense of dread. The chapel was as Sarah described, a macabre sanctuary hidden deep within the castle. As they examined the altar, Emma began to feel lightheaded, the room spinning around her. She collapsed, and when she awoke, she was no longer in the chapel but in a dark stone cell, the sound of water dripping echoing around her. Panic set in as she realized she was alone. Back in the chapel, the others searched frantically for Emma. Their flashlights flickered, and an icy wind swept through the room. The shadows seemed to move, and a low, guttural whisper filled the air. "Leave this place," it hissed. Desperate to find their friend, they ignored the warning and pressed on, stumbling upon a hidden staircase leading down to the dungeons. The air grew colder, and the smell of decay filled their nostrils. They found Emma in a cell, her eyes wide with terror, muttering incoherently about the lady in black. As they freed her, the whispering grew louder, the shadows closing in around them. They ran, their footsteps echoing through the castle, chased by the unseen presence. The walls seemed to close in, the corridors twisting and turning, leading them deeper into the darkness. Finally, they burst into the Great Hall, the fireplace roaring to life with a ghostly flame. Standing before them was the lady in black, her eyes hollow, her face twisted in a grotesque mask of rage and sorrow. "You should not have come here," she wailed, her voice piercing their souls. The friends fled the castle, never looking back, the haunting cries of the lady in black echoing in their ears. They reached Dunlair at dawn, shaken and terrified, vowing never to speak of that night again. Blackthorn Castle remains, a monument to forgotten horrors and the restless spirits that dwell within its walls. And still, on dark, stormy nights, the villagers of Dunlair can hear the mournful wails of the lady in black, a chilling reminder of the curse that plagues the ancient ruins.